If you think the snakes, spiders, and sharks are the deadliest things in Australia, just wait until you learn more about today's killer, who only needed one day to take the lives of 35 people and destroy the lives of countless others. Welcome back to Twisted.
Okay, to be fair, like I know the title is The Boy Who Grew Up to Kill 35 People in 24 Hours. I'm pretty sure there's people who beat that. But I mean, it's a good clickbait title. But it's not that surprising because there's plenty of people in the world who's done way worse than that. But I mean, whatever.
My name is James, and today we're going to be unraveling the explosive story behind Martin Bryant.
Did he explode something? Did Martin Bryant explode something? Is that why it's called explosive? People who've killed over 90. I mean, what about the Las Vegas situation?
The most notorious mass murderer in Australia's history, and a man responsible for one of the worst...
Oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense. It's Australia. Okay, so they're noobs when it comes to mass murdering. Okay. Like, dude, I thought this was American. I'm like, 30... Dude, those are rookie numbers in America. 35? Come on, man. But it's not in America, so it makes more sense.
Single person,
yeah, Aussies are noobs, dude.
The world has ever seen. The Port Arthur Massacre. It's been 25 years since this tragic event, which has since resulted in the Australian state placing extensive restrictions on gun laws.
It took one. It took one shooting? It took one shooting? How many are we deep in America, dude? Like, how deep are we in America? It took Australia one. It took Australia one mass shooting. America out here having mass shootings every week. We're like, we'll give it like 100 more and then we'll think about it, okay? Holy shit.
And a buyback scheme was initiated in which over 643,000 firearms were handed back, which cost the government around $350 million. The country no longer allows adults to purchase any type of firearm without a license.
I can't get hard without my gun. True.
On the 7th of May, 1967, at the Queen Alexandra Hospital in Hobart, Tasmania. The first child of Maurice and Carleen Bryant, the couple couldn't possibly know the horrors that were to happen because of their son. A violent and disruptive child, Martin was severely bullied at school. This led Martin
why the
to
U.S. doesn't do
bully
it. We can't afford to buy back all the guns. No, the U.S. doesn't want to do it because they don't want to buy back all the guns. They can afford it. Like 100%, they can afford it. Like, that's nothing. They just don't want to. That's the problem.
Children younger than him and weaker than him. This behavior led to some quick punishment, with Martin being suspended from Newtown Primary School in 1977 at just the age of 10 years old. He would soon undergo the first of many psychological assessments. Here it was discovered that Martin liked to kill and torture animals, and that he had an IQ of only 60.
Okay, like, that's like the biggest red flag in the world. He's already killing animals and torturing them? Hello?
Making him legally mentally disabled. The following year, in 1978, Martin returned to school with greatly improved behavior. But it wasn't to last. After failing to befriend any of his classmates, he returned to bullying the younger children. When he was just 14 years old, Martin got his first firearm. It was an air rifle that his father had bought for him as a present. The young boy...
Dad, we need to have a conversation about that. I don't think giving your child who like to torture animals an airsoft gun, any gun, even if it's just an airsoft gun, in general, not a great idea. Maybe get them on a new hobby. You know, not hurting and killing. You know, get them on a new hobby. I don't know.
Would carelessly fire the weapon from a distance at drivers passing by and shoot down birds. This cruel habit of killing innocent animals earned the boy the nickname Silly Martin, with children saying that he had no sense and no feeling for other living creatures.
Silly Martin.
High school wasn't
Oh,
much
you
better for
silly.
Martin, as he was
Murdering
transferred to a
animals.
special education unit at Newtown High School in 1980 to help with his learning disabilities. In 1983, after he left school, the boy was assessed for a disability pension. In his assessment, the psychologist wrote that the young man could not read nor write, although he was able to garden.
Why is he... Look how absolutely terrified this animal is, by the way. Number one, why is he holding an animal? Number two, look at how utterly terrified this animal is.
His parents' efforts prevented further deterioration, and due to the possibility that their son could be schizophrenic, they faced a bleak future with him. Through this assessment, Martin was awarded the disability pension, although he also worked as a handyman and a gardener. His mental disabilities are possibly one of the main reasons he had such a difficult time connecting with others, and what ultimately led to one of the most horrific mass shootings in the world.
Oh boy.
For the next 5 years, Martin remained at home with his parents, doing odd handyman jobs locally. In early 1987, when he was 19 years old, Martin finally made his first real connection with another person, a 54-year-old woman called Helene Mary Elizabeth Harvey.
It's weird friendship, I guess. You know, it's weird, chat. I finished reading. Well, wait, I can't grab right now. I finished reading this book called The Stranger. That's about like psychopaths. It's the perspective of a psychopath, and it's like it's just so weird hearing. Like, it's basically a psychopath that like ends up. I guess, spoiler alert, I don't really know if you guys are going to read it, but he ends up murdering someone. And it just talks about his perspective and how it's literally just like there was no reason for it. He didn't want to do it, but he didn't not want to do it. And it was just literally just like a passerby thing. Like, it's just so, it's so crazy, like looking at the mind of like a psychopath like that. I can't read. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't either. He didn't. Yeah, like there's no conscious in any way. It was something he could do, so he did it. And that book, like, it honestly is probably the best representation of what a psychopath, or like I guess a nihilist in a way at the same time is. I feel like that's literally the best description of what a psychopath is. It's only like 100 pages too. I would, if you're interested in that shit, like psychopath stuff, The Stranger is like an amazing read for that.
She was an heiress to a share in the Tattersall.
Use code PIG on Audible
Martin
if you don't want to read.
across Miss Harvey whilst looking for new customers for.
Or is it code Bionic? I forget. My codes are always different. Who knows?
His lawn mowing service. Miss Harvey, who lived with her mother Hilza, ended up befriending the unusual man, which led to him becoming a regular visitor to the woman's neglected mansion. Whenever he visited, Martin would help the older woman with chores, such as mowing the lawn and helping to feed her 14 dogs and 40 cats. With this new
Did he he'll get to it. He'll probably get to the point where he does weird stuff.
found friendship, it seemed like things might be looking up for the eccentric man. With the amount of animals in the house and the fact that the two elderly women couldn't clean up after them properly, it was no surprise when a neighbor reported Miss Harvey to the health authorities.
Thank you
For the mess that was her
Juice
home.
Operator
Upon
for the Prime
inspection,
sub.
Medics found that both Miss Harvey and her mother were in need
Appreciate
of
that.
urgent hospital treatment due to the unsanitary conditions that they had been living in. Unfortunately, though, it was too late for Hilza Harvey, and she died at the age
of
7. With her mother
that
gone,
was the
Miss
trigger.
Harvey decided to invite Martin to live with her in the mansion. To which
He's talking about your neighbors.
Though it was never proven, some people believe that the couple's relationship went beyond that of just two friends. The two started spending large amounts of Miss Harvey's money, including buying more than 30 new cars in less than 3 years. They also went shopping daily.
She was that rich?
With all of that money, his first real friend, and a chance to be normal, you might think that Martin would finally start to be better. But you'd be wrong. At around the same time that the future killer moved in with the lottery heiress, he was reassessed.
Oh, lottery. Oh, I missed the lottery part. Okay.
And the outcome was even worse than before. The psychiatrist attached a note to his assessment, which read, "Father protects him from any occasion which might upset him as he continually threatens violence. Martin tells me he would like to go around shooting people. It would be unsafe to allow Martin out of his parents' control." You would think that with such a shocking and disturbing evaluation, that Martin would be...
Dude, it's not even surprising anymore. Like when, like, there's literally a billion red flags and like people don't do anything. That's like so common. Like every one of these like true crime things, like everyone had ample, like a lot of times, not too many times, but a lot of times have ample amount of time and like signs to do something about it, but they never do.
Be taken to a mental health facility to be monitored. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case, and so although he didn't live with his parents anymore, they were always close by to keep an eye on him. In 1991, Miss Harvey decided to buy a 29-hectare farm called Torresville in the small township of Copping. Both she and Martin moved into the new house together, to the displeasure of their neighbors.
What's a hectare?
Who disapproved of their relationship. Not only did they not like the relationship, but all of the locals were very wary of this new and unusual man. Late at night, he would roam around the neighborhood, firing his air rifle at dogs when they barked at him. He would also fire it at
larger than an acre
as they stopped to buy apples.
Is it like a British, like acre? A British acre? If it's 10,000 square meters, it's definitely British, isn't it? Definitely UK. It's about 2.4 acres. That's a lot of. They get a lot of acres then. Holy shit. UK weirdos with their measurements that end in zeros.
At a stall on the highway. Not signs of a mentally stable man. It was no wonder why people tried to avoid him at all costs, despite his efforts at befriending them. On the 20th of October, 1992, Miss Harvey had passed away. Although the case is still a bit dubious as to how her death actually occurred, the story goes that she and Martin were traveling in the car together with Miss Harvey's 2 dogs when it suddenly veered onto the wrong side of the road and hit an oncoming car head-on. Miss Harvey and her 2 dogs were instantly killed, and Martin suffered severe neck and back injuries. Police investigated his potential role in the incident, as he had been known to lunge for the steering wheel whilst the car was moving. He had caused Miss Harvey to crash 3 times already by doing this. Miss Harvey had been so fearful.
Then why would you drive with him? What? Just don't drive with him.
Fearful of Martin that she had even confided in her neighbors that he was the reason why she couldn't drive faster than 37 miles per hour. Although police did investigate him, Martin told them it was the dogs roaming around freely which caused the crash, and he was subsequently no longer seen as a suspect. After her death, Martin was named
more red flags. No one does
Miss
anything.
Harvey's will and came into possession of assets totaling more than 500.
See, dude, this is how psychopaths work, man. He just wanted the bag. This is how psychopaths work. He didn't care. Like, he saw 2 people who had a shitload of money, and he killed them both.
$150,000. However, because of Martin's low IQ, he wasn't able to look after his own finances, and so his mother applied for and was granted a guardianship order to place Martin's assets under the management of public trustees, which ended up being his father.
I hate that. Shut up.
But the tragedy didn't stop there. After Miss Harvey's death, Martin went back to live with his mother.
Oh, if you want my
whilst his
sub
father
counts on the
looked
bottom
after
right.
farm that
Right.
his son had inherited. It was around this time that his father, Maurice Byron,
Thank you, Polish Potato Gang, for the
tried
tier
to
1.
buy a small bed and breakfast near Port Arthur. However, before he could get his finances in order, the building was bought by another couple, David and Nolene Martin. Martin tried to buy the business off of the couple, but they refused. In the months that followed, his father, Maurice Byron, fell into a deep depression, which he often blamed Martin for. And on the 16th of August, 1993, divers found his body in the lake of the property with a diving weight belt around his neck. This would later prove to be one of the big things that pushed Martin over the edge. The death was ruled as a suicide, although there are those who...
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if that feels like a suicide right there.
believe that Martin actually killed his father so that he was able to access his money, which his father...
Dude, how many people did he kill? Like, he definitely killed those 2 old ladies, and he definitely killed his dad.
...had financial guardianship over. In the aftermath of his father's death, Martin inherited his $550,000, which Miss Harvey had left for him, as well as $250,000 from his father. Now that he was alone, Martin's unusual and eccentric personality started showing through more and more. He was often seen sporting a gray linen suit, a cravat, lizard skin shoes, and a Panama hat, and would try to talk to random strangers, telling them that he had a well-paying career. As his mental health declined and his need for companionship grew, Martin would often go on multiple trips overseas just so that he could talk to people on the plane. Forced to be polite, people would have to talk to him. However, they still felt that he was incredibly creepy. But this was not enough to satisfy his dire need for friends, and his mental health got even worse. In late 1995, Martin became suicidal after deciding that he had had enough. I just felt more people were against me. When I tried to be friendly toward them, they just walked away, he said in an interview. In his loneliness, Martin quickly turned to alcohol, and in the 6 months prior to the Port Arthur massacre, his consumption increased exponentially. According to Martin, he first thought of the plan for Port Arthur 4 to 12 weeks before it took place, and based it off the Dunblane massacre, which had happened in Scotland, UK, only 1 month prior to Martin's attack.
Dude, is it bad that, like, shootings in different countries, like, are rare to the point where they write an entire book about it? But like, you can't write books about the shootings in America because they happen all the time.
At some point during the years leading up to the horrendous attack, Martin had managed to legally buy himself an AR-10 semi-automatic rifle, an AR-15 rifle, an L1A1 self-loading battle rifle, and a USAS-12 automatic shotgun. He also visited the Port Arthur historic site multiple
Columbine. Yeah, but Columbine was the start. You know what I mean? Like obviously that counts because that was like the beginning of it all, really, at the end of the day.
In the months leading up to the tragic event, and bought a large sports bag, which he said needed to be strong enough
it was
to
like
hold
the catalyst.
large amounts of ammunition. It seemed that Martin was determined to go through with his plan. On the 28th of April, 1996, Martin put his plan into action. He was unusually awoken at 6 a.m. by his alarm clock. During interviews after the massacre, his girlfriend of the time and his remaining family said that it was strange, as he had never used the alarm clock before. At around 9:45 a.m., after his girlfriend had left for the day, Martin left his home and headed toward Port Arthur.
He had a girlfriend? Like, I saw a bunch of pictures of him. Yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures of him with a girl, but it was never like, I didn't thought it was just right. I actually had a girlfriend. Interesting.
Along with all of his weapons and his bag.
And he was wanting companionship? He was depressed because of companionship, but he had a girlfriend. Okay.
Full of ammo. By 11:45 a.m., he had arrived at the Seascape Bed and Breakfast, the very one that his father had been unable to buy. Martin apparently believed that the owners, the Martins, had deliberately bought the property to hurt his family and blamed them for his father's depression, which ultimately led to his death. An act he decided that they would pay for with their lives. Martin fatally shot the Martins in the guest room of their house before making his way to Port Arthur. They were the first two victims of his devastating massacre. Once at Port Arthur, Martin went into the Broad Arrow Cafe, carrying his large blue sports bag. He ordered a meal and made small talk with the tourists in the small shop, acting as if he was just another visitor on a day out. Unfortunately, his plans were much more sinister. After finishing his meal, Martin moved toward the back of the cafe, which had around 60 to 70 guests in it at the time, and set up a video camera on an empty table. He then took out his AR-15 semi-automatic rifle and started firing into the crowd of innocent people. Within only 15 seconds, the cold-blooded killer had fired 17 shots, killing 12 people and injuring another 10.
He taped it? Dude, that's how these people are, man. They want to document it.
And then walked toward the gift shop, where people had tried to hide, and fired 12 more times, killing another 8 people and wounding 2 more.
Where's the shotgun?
Sound like a trail.
See that man running next to the building that's here?
Outside of the cafe, a group of people had gathered, believing the gunshots to be part of a reenactment play. Martin took this opportunity to refill his ammo and leave the cafe, only to callously shoot into the crowd in the car park.
There's somebody going crazy shooting people here. There he is. He's over there. I can't believe it.
Martin then got...
Okay, don't. There he is. He's over there. Run. What? What fucking reenactment? Who knows, dude? It was 96. I feel like, yeah, this is definitely before mass shootings were a big deal. Hi, dog. There's a dog at my window. But yeah, this is. I feel like back then, it's hard to believe, but back then they were so uncommon that people never expected it to happen. You know what I mean? They're not used to it. You know, it's not like America now where we're so like numb and so used to mass shootings that if we hear a shot anywhere, we're instantly like, we're doing a mass shooting. Let's get ready. Come on, guys. Mass shooting time. It's time. Time for our weekly mass shooting, you know?
Got into his car and drove away, leaving 4 more people dead and 6 more injured. Only 300 meters down the road, 36-year-old Nanette Meekark was walking with her 2 daughters, 6-year-old Alana Meekark and 3-year-old Madeline Meekark. Martin saw the family as he drove and pulled over. Not knowing what had just happened down the port, Nanette had no idea how dangerous the man was. In the blink of an eye, Martin shot and killed Nanette and Madeline, who she was carrying in her arms. Alana tried to run away, however, in an act of true heartlessness, Martin chased after her and killed her with a single shot. Continuing with his rampage, Martin stole a gold BMW
that's heavy.
After killing all 4 of its occupants.
That's heavy.
He then drove a short distance down the road and pulled up alongside a white Toyota with a couple inside. He took out one of his weapons and ordered the male occupant of the car to get into the boot of the BMW, before then shooting and killing the female driver. At around 2:10 in the afternoon, the mass murderer returned to the Seascape guest house, set the stolen car on fire, and took his hostage inside, where the bodies of the Martins still lay. During this time, 2 police officers had been called about the roadside murders. Tried to approach Martin, however, he opened fire on them, causing them to hide in a ditch and become pinned down. It wasn't until around 9 p.m. that a special operations group of the Tasmania police team arrived on the scene. They rescued the pinned down officers, and
there's
for
a
the
guy.
next
Wait,
18 hours, a tense standoff between Martin and the police took place. At first, the police tried to negotiate with the killer, but it was cut short when the battery on Martin's phone ran out. His only demand had been that he wanted to be transported to an airport in an army helicopter. During negotiations, Martin ended up killing his hostage, bringing the total number of people killed in his monstrous rampage to 35, whilst a further 23 were injured. The next morning, in a last-ditch attempt to escape, Martin set fire to the guest house and tried to get away amidst the confusion. This didn't work, and instead, the killer was captured and taken to Royal Hobart Hospital.
Why not just shoot him? See, that's the question. You know?
Which he received in the fire. He was kept under heavy guard the entire time.
Yeah, let's waste our tax dollars on a dude who just killed 35 people by bringing him back to life, making sure he doesn't die from burns. Get all the doctors we have and take care of him.
After his arrest, Martin was held in custody without the chance of bail. Whilst he was awaiting trial, he was examined by court-appointed psychiatrist Ian Sale, who believed that Martin possibly suffered from a mixture of conduct disorder, attention...
Yeah, I feel like if punishment for this shit was a lot harsher, people would want to do it less. Because most of the time the punishment is just you get life in prison, you know? Which, yeah, sucks, but like, I mean, really at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, it's not like they're going to die. They're just going to chill in prison the rest of their life.
Deficit, hyperactivity, and Asperger's syndrome. Not that that excused the horror that he had just committed. Eventually, Martin was judged fit to stand trial, which happened on the 7th of November, 1996. Initially...
To be fair, keeping him helps us understand more of the planning process behind these and prevention. But you can't really prevent against psychopaths. Or you can... if you are smart and you see the, I would say, 1,000 red flags that came from him throughout his entire life and did something beforehand, but no one did. So. Autism doesn't, whoever said autism causes this? No, this is not autism in the slightest. This is a psychopath.
The mass murderer pleaded not guilty, but his court-appointed lawyer, John Avery, later convinced him to change his mind and plead guilty to all charges. 2 weeks later,
the video said something about it?
5 consecutive life sentences, one for each victim killed in his attack. He was also given an additional 1,652 years in prison for attempted murder and grievous physical harm to numerous people. The sentence was issued...
Dude, they're gonna keep him alive that long? Holy shit.
...with no chance of parole, the first of its kind. So, it's safe to say that he's never getting out. Throughout his imprisonment, the once formidable killer attempted to take his own life on 8 separate occasions. The latest being in 2007, when he tried to slit his own throat with a razor blade, forcing him to be briefly hospitalized before being returned to prison. In recent exclusive interviews, Martin has been documented to have become severely overweight as he refused to join in on exercise in the prison court.
Okay, who cares? Like, it's a good thing. Like let him suffer. Like, I mean, to be fair, like, you should just let him die at this point. There's not really a point in keeping him, but whatever. I mean, let him suffer.
He has also been noted to have declined even more mentally, to the point where he is willing to trade sexual favors for chocolate. As of 2021, the...
Okay, that's not mental. That's normal.
Unremorseful mass murderer is being housed in the maximum security Risdon prison.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If he's doing that in prison, like, let him die slow.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribe? I'll thank you either